Tom Keene joins us now for the Morning Must Watch. George Soros has weighed in on Brexit once again in front of the European Union leaders. This is the Parliament, actually, and his comments have caused quite a stir. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
It unleashed a crisis in the financial markets, comparable in severity only to 2007-8. This has been unfolding in slow motion, but Brexit is accelerating it.
So, Tom, we've talked about George Soros before, and
Sure.
I must say this is one of the most read stories on the Bloomberg terminal as well today. As you've said, he's a very nuanced, comprehensive, cohesive thinker, so we need to listen to what he has to say. He's compared to 2007, 2008. At the same time, we heard yesterday from Larry Fink and from David Rubenstein saying it's not that big a deal. There seems to be a divergence. How do you account for that?
There's a huge divergence. First of all, Mr. Soros has what I would call an earned respect. He's getting quite on in years. I'm not going to put that against him, but the fact is he's been known to make these more inflammatory statements, and of course the rap on the street, maybe for Mr. Rubenstein and others, is he's talking his book. That's always the pushback to Mr. Soros. I don't know if he's talking his book or not. There were rumors that he got killed on the pound the other day. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's one thing to be George Soros, investor, and another one to be a leader at BNP Paribas or JP Morgan or at BlackRock, where you've got a real responsibility to give a public message that's more tempered.
Yes, and in fairness, pretty much everyone is talking their book. It's just a question of what book they're talking.
I have never seen more talking of book in the last 2 weeks ever, even including 08.
And we've talked on this program about Mr. Soros about 3 weeks ago, I think it was now, going out and saying he was going to go short the world, essentially. He was really thinking we're headed for bad times. So he believes this. This is sincere.
But to our viewers that don't know his history, he's earned a respect to be listened to. I'm really adamant about that. But again, he's an investor talking an angle, and in his case, a more elegiac opinion, perhaps. He doesn't have a public duty or a quasi-public duty as a financial officer to have a more tempered message. So you've got to dovetail it in to the I mean, John Chambers from Cisco was on earlier with somewhat of a tempered message about technology in Europe. They got to talk their book.
But whether right or wrong, Tom, and you and I have talked about this, I would put him in one way in a same camp with the Henry Kissinger. This is someone with a vast amount of experience who have thought through the world and understand connections around the world that some people might miss. He might be right, he might be wrong, but he's worth listening to about how he sees the world working.
Well put, and exactly like Dr. Kissinger in his wonderful essay in the Wall Street Journal the other day. It's an earned respect around a greater philosophy. George Soros has an entire constructed philosophy off the work of Karl Popper ages ago at LSE that is acclaimed. We have to remember that. And within that, you listen to these worthies, if you will, but always pushing back in your own mind, including Dr. Kissinger. His book, World Order, was my book of the year 2 or 3 years ago, and even a lot of that you argue with. That's part of the game.
And so, to be unfair and to ask you to prognosticate, when will we have a sense which one's right? If you take on the one hand Larry Fink and you have on the other hand
Time will
George
tell.
Soros.
Just flat out.
But how much?
I will state this. This is the critical distinction. In 07 and 08, we had 3 and 4 standard deviation moves. We did not see that last week.